Hi, welcome to the Leadership Success Series from Focus for Growth. Today's going to be a continuation of our discussion about motivation of people and the inherent link that the leader has to the motivation of people. And in the last episode, I talked about stress and that optimal performance zone. So how do you help people to find that optimal performance zone? Well, before you can start that, you have to understand the fundamentals of what drives human motivation. And a long time ago, a guy called Abraham Maslow created a model that is very well recognized called the hierarchy of needs. And it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And before you can really understand how to motivate yourself and people, you have to understand that fundamental model. And I won't go through all of the 5 layers of Maslow's model, but it starts with really basic fundamental needs. And what happens is, as you look at people's fundamental needs, we start with physiological needs, the basic needs to survive, kind of survival needs. Once those are met, people move to safety needs. Do I feel safe and secure in my environment, whether that be my home, my workplace, in my network with peers? And then I move, once I feel safe, I move to belonging and love. And that's around relationships, intimate relationships, work relationships, but relationships across my life with other people. Once those are satisfied, I can start to think about myself, my self-esteem, where I fit in the world, and how I could start to become accomplished at what I'm doing. And the final level, the highest level of human need, is the level of self-accomplishment. And Maslow referred to it as self-actualization. But each of these levels of human need build upon each other. And the reason it's important to understand that is because as a leader, if you're a type X leader, we talked about our type X leader that rules by fear, that dominates and uses a commanding style. What happens as that leader comes into contact with their team is they can cause real fear and challenge to people's safety. Once people feel unsafe in the working environment, they're dropping right down in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to the point where actually until they start to feel safe again, you can't get them to interact with people, to start to build their self-confidence and esteem, and start to think about how do I learn, grow, and contribute more to the organization along with myself. So the type Y leader who empowers people, who helps them to feel safe, helps them to connect with that leader and their peers, their team, fosters that environment and creates that environment of affiliation, actually can help people to see beyond themselves, start to see what they're capable of, and really fuel the success of people within the organization. But all of it happens in sequence and in order based on people's fundamental needs. So before you understand that model, it's very difficult to say, how do I motivate and engage my team? Now that we understand that model, and you can use your type Y leadership skills to develop people to the top of this hierarchy, then it gets really interesting, because now we can help people to really start to look at how do I perform at the highest level possible and get into that optimal performance zone. Now, there are a number of ways in which you can do that, and we'll move on to that in the next series. But for now, just understanding, where are my people? How do I help them to move up that hierarchy of needs so they've got the strength they need in order to perform at their best? Once we get them to that position, we can talk about how do we now get them in the zone and what do we do when they're there. So I'll talk about that in the next video. I hope that's got you hooked. Thanks again for all of the feedback. I get some great comments, likes and personal messages through LinkedIn and Facebook. So thank you everybody for your support. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please like the video. If you would like to comment or enter into a discussion with me, please do. I'd be delighted to hear from you. And if you want to share it with somebody you think would gain benefit, I'd be delighted if you would do that too. So I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Leadership Success Series from Focus for Growth.